You're listening to Nick Luck Daily. This edition is brought to you by Timeform, your trusted source for racing data and analysis. By Total Performance Data, the global leader in live horse racing data. This edition is also brought to you by FitzDares, laying some of the world's largest sporting wagers since 1882.
Hello, welcome to the show. It is Thursday, the 30th of July, which means it is day 3, Ladies' Day here at the Qatar Goodwood Festival, glorious Goodwood, and no finer place to be than overlooking the home straight here. Not quite a cloudless sky, but just a few wisps, and it's lovely. Rishi, Persad, good morning.
Good morning. Yes, it is a beautiful day, and thankfully I understand it's going to be a little bit cooler than yesterday, which will be hugely appreciated.
But if you were standing where I present from for Racing TV, it was quite something yesterday. It's a delight, but it's also torture somewhat, because you spend 5.5 hours just looking at people having fun.
Yes,
directly at those
particularly
bars.
I understand when your colleagues and indeed some of your members of the press entourage and other broadcasters, once they've downed tools, they gather around you, do they?
Yeah, well, particularly as some of them have downed tools since about 11 o'clock in the morning and are there setting up camp with their various bottles of whatever. Anyway, everyone's having a great time here.
Indeed.
And of course the place came alive yesterday when Boughey won the Sussex Stakes, and he didn't just win it, he won it with that devastating burst of speed, turn of foot in a good time. Billy Wathnan, the man who's come of age this season, and George Boughey, this team that everybody seems to cleave to, and a horse that is probably going to define their careers.
Wonderful race, and all the shenanigans that are involved with Steward and Puerto Rico only added to it. I know some people looking on social media last night, it's probably a dangerous thing before you go to bed anyway. You shouldn't really do it.
Well,
but
depends what you're looking at, I suppose.
Just news.
Yeah.
But just seeing the sentiment of some people suggesting that the way the race unfolded with team tactics in inverted commas was negative. But I actually thought it added to the excitement of the race and added to the performance of Boughey. The fact that he was able to overcome being in that pocket, and Billy mentioned it after the race, saying, I knew where I wanted to be on the tail of Steward, but obviously Christophe Simeon is outside on Puerto Rico. And the way the race unfolded made his victory even more sublime, I thought. And the fact that he had to go and get Steward, who'd got first run on him, and did it, and he was going away at the end. He is some horse.
Steward is one hell of a horse as well, and of course he is making the season with him.
The Opera Ballo as well. He must be some horse to be that keen up the hill in the first furlong and a half, and then hang in there for third. I think, and giving them weight as well. The first three are all very, very good, but Boughey is something special.
Now there are trainers who are naturally quite conservative and will preserve and try and conserve a horse's undefeated record by, picking and choosing targets carefully. This horse is undefeated, but he's been in deep every single time and has produced 3 fantastic performances on the spin now in Group 1 company. I think Frankel is the only other horse in my memory to win a Guineas and a Sussex Stakes and remain unbeaten at the time that he won the Sussex.
Yeah.
Gibraltar had been beaten by then. Notable Speech had been beaten by then. Maybe Brigadier Gerard, and then maybe he lost his unbeaten record in the Judd, didn't he?
Yeah. Yes. That's the only one I can think of as well. I think he's got to be in deep, considering wherever he goes, he's going to be in deep. But I like the fact that they are already thinking of going abroad. They're going to go to France, and the Breeders' Cup is the big target at the end of the season. I love that idea of taking him to an international challenge.
It did strike me, though, when you're thinking about, where does he go now? There is not another target in this country until the QE2.
Yeah.
So we're now in what? July,
end of August, beginning of August,
and there's nothing until the middle of October.
Yeah.
It's an awful long way away not to have another top-level race that he can run in, because, of course, the QE2 used to be run at a sensible time.
Yes, it did in September. Yeah.
And with a horse like him, you're not going to be wanting to run him on soft ground, really, are you?
When you think back to how the pattern was created and the big race for the milers at the end of the season, the QE2 was in September. There was a celebration mile that would set them on the way here. Many horses, the likes of Marco Steam, I remember him having his prep run for that race here. He was a Guineas winner. So there is an option here. But if you are at the level of a Boughey, you go abroad.
Go back, do you? You go abroad, and that's what the European pattern is for.
Yeah.
Josh Stacey, our amazing cameraman, has pointed out to me that the Jacques Le Marois is on the 16th.
Incredible.
So they have got the extra week this year, so they could do it, conceivably, 2.5 weeks. And then the Moulin, and then maybe the Breeders' Cup Mile. He'd be a hell of a horse round Keeneland in
Oh, I'd love to see it. I love seeing our champions going to the Breeders' Cup. It's how I finished my years off. I think I've mentioned this to you before, but Dancing Brave, remember staying up to watch him go to the Breeders' Cup turf, expecting just a celebration of his magnificence, and then being distraught that he could only, I think he finished 4th in the end, but that was disappointing. But he had a long season. He had a prep run in April all the way through to the Arc, and he was probably a little bit burnt out. Whether Bo Echo can take his season that deep will be part of the excitement going into the race.
And let's think about some of the other horses in behind. Steward will go wherever he goes, I guess.
I think he'll stay at a mile. Constitution River is their 10 furlong hope, and who else have they got to compete in the top mile races? I don't think the fillies have really come up to that level, True Love and Precise, so I would say Steward stays at a mile.
Opera Ballo, I guess he could go to Keeneland as well.
I'd love to see him. Charlie Appleby mentioned yesterday before the Sussex Stakes that his excellent record around turning tracks, 6 from 6 prior to yesterday, and he's only been beaten by 2 outstanding 3-year-olds, giving them weight. I think he'll be brilliant around there, but there is Notable Speech, who's also shown his versatility and his ability to act on those turning tracks. Who would you ride if you were Willie Beer?
Oh, it's a tough one. It's such a tough decision, that, because Opera Ballo, I think, has got the more natural ability. Which I know is a crazy thing to say because Notable Speech is very good, but I think Notable Speech, as we saw last year, is slingshotting around those bends. He's perfectly made for the race. Very difficult call. Maybe Notable Speech in that race, but I think Opera Ballo might be a better horse. Okay. Zavatiri, I thought, ran very well.
Really well.
Johnson Horton.
Yeah, excellent, yeah.
Really good run in 5th.
Lake Forest.
10 Bob Tony probably ran better than he did in winning the Queen Anne.
Yeah, no fluke about the Queen Anne for anyone who thought he might have benefited from the collapse of Opera Ballo in the closing stages at Ascot.
Lake Forest, if there was an unlucky horse in the race, it might have been him. He didn't get the clearest of runs through, but it was another creditable run.
And how good it was to see him perform like that after winning the Lennox the day before, franking the form of Rogue Diplomat in behind.
Yeah. Very good. Rogue Diplomat was very good the other day.
Yeah, we'll see you at the QE2.
Yeah, I bet you will.
Yeah,
and then see you at the sales for another 1.6 million or whatever it is. Maybe more. Who knows?
Might be there already, lucky.
All right. Okay, let's find out what our friends at Timeform made of yesterday's Sussex Stakes.
Well, what a pleasure it really was yesterday to have had a race deliver everything it promised. The Sussex Stakes looked an absolute corker on paper, and it very much proved one on the turf. Bo Echo remains unbeaten and takes his Timeform rating from 131p to 133. Now his performance figure on the day is 127 plus, the plus acknowledging that granted a cleaner run he would have run to a higher figure, but he's been bumped up as a result of the overall strength of the Newmarket form. Gestad has run good race in defeat to him both starts since, and we now think the Guineas was a better performance, beating a better rival than we did on initial assessment. So Bo Echo now holds a Timeform rating of 133. Gestad himself, he's up to 126, and now the disparity between the pair of them might be a little bit more than people would anticipate, given how close Gestad has got to Bo Echo the last twice. But neither of those outings at Ascot or at Goodwood have really seen Bo Echo to best effect. Messi at Ascot, ridden for a turn of foot at Goodwood yesterday, and we think that Newmarket, that the Guineas, is a truer reflection of those horses' relative merits compared to one another. Very much backing up the Timeform viewpoint that the current crop of 3-year-old milers are superior to their elder counterparts. Opera Ballo running close enough to his best despite not really settling. Similar comments applying to 10 Bob Tony. The 1, 2, 3, 4 on the Timeform figures coming home in that order. Bo Echo has joined a very, very good crop of horses, pretty elite to be fair. 2 have won the Guineas, St James's Palace and the Sussex. To give a bit of historical context, he's currently achieving on a rough par as to what Bolkonski and Rock of Gibraltar did in completing that treble, ahead of Henry the Navigator. Still a fair way to go. Love to catch up to Brigadier Gerard, who ran to 141, and Frankel, who ran to 143. No shame in being behind those two though. On to the Nassau this afternoon, Diamond Necklace, another unbeaten 3-year-old, bids to add further Group 1 glory. She's odds on to do so, but there's only £1 between her and the 5-year-old Friendly Soul on the Timeform figures, so perhaps not quite as straightforward as the betting would have it suggest.
All All right, that is the Timeform view of yesterday's Sussex Stakes, and I can promise you George Boughey is coming up very soon on the show. Why are you laughing?
No, just you're such an expert at getting hold of people, but I know that it's not been entirely straightforward getting George this morning.
Well, George is 100% reliable.
Okay.
He's superb.
Has he given you a time?
He has given me a specific time.
All right.
So I'm going to stick to the specific time. But he's excellent. So he is coming up very shortly. Just a line on the Nassau Stakes. They were talking about that there, the guys at Timeform. In what scenario does Diamond Necklace get defeated today, do you think?
It's a good question. I'm not convinced that Diamond Necklace is the best Aidan O'Brien filly we've seen. I don't think she's a minding. I think she's probably more of a whirl. She's unbeaten. She's won the Guineas and the Oaks in France, and she's clearly very, very good. But I haven't seen anything yet to suggest that she's quite at that level. I think she's vulnerable, particularly against Friendly Soul, who I still think, she's a Group 1 winner, and we haven't seen the best of her this season. She was very good at Ascot in awkward circumstances. She couldn't get a clean break, and she ran on really well.
Are you of the school of thought she would have won at Ascot with a clear run?
I think she would have gone. Yeah, I think she'd have beaten Blue Bolt.
Do you?
Of course, Blue Bolt went on to beat Precise, and I think Kontiki was in behind as well. So the form of that race.
There is a little doubt over the 3-year-old fillies, isn't there?
A little bit.
Precise
More of a doubt.
Beat, Thundering On got beaten.
Exactly. Strange and Blue Bolt have held the cards for the older horses. So I just think it's more of all the favourites this week. Diamond Necklace was the most vulnerable.
Okay, Oisin Murphy will be riding See the Fire in the Nassau Stakes. She has run well in the race before. She ran well here before. She ran a very good race in the Prince of Wales' last year. She didn't quite maybe reach that level this season. He was in the headlines yesterday after the televised Steward's inquiry. Now, I on Racing TV don't get access to the audio, where you'll have been listening to the audio.
Well, I was trying to,
and then I'm getting a million messages from people saying he's not advocated strongly enough for his connections and for punters for his horse to get spun round. And his take on it, to paraphrase, is, well, I'm not going to lie. I'm going to tell the truth and say I didn't think it made any difference. It's an interesting one, this, isn't it?
It is an interesting one, and the case can be made obviously for both sides. My personal take on the whole episode is that it's an example of why we shouldn't be speaking to the jockeys after a race. What is the purpose of the stewards who are in position to determine the outcome of it? What are they going to get from the jockeys when historically jockeys come in there and they fight their corner? Okay, Oisin Murphy's position yesterday was entirely against the grain year after year. But we're now living in a world where we've got all the evidence for neutral people to decide the outcome. What jockeys aren't represented by legal people in there. They're just you're accused of committing a potential infringement, and somebody's going to say yay or nay. We know that. That's generally it. Okay, yesterday what Oisin Murphy did is slightly different, but I think in the overall thing, I'd move jockeys out of that. We don't need it. It wastes time as well. Yesterday's was so long, and
I know. I don't mind the American way of doing it. They just get them on the phone straight away and they speak to them for about 20 seconds. They just say, "This is what happened." Bang. I don't understand the protracted, drawn-out nature of it. And as you say, you want the result to be announced because you want the punters going back to the ring or back to the windows.
With the specific concentration on Oisin Murphy's idea of telling the truth, I do think that in that scenario the punters must be considered, and if you've backed his horse, you'd want him to fight the corner and say, I could have won
but in his defence, that's not his job. His job is to answer the questions truthfully from the stewards,
exactly,
rather than perform some piece of theatre, which would be better for a TV audience, of course.
But it's not in that scenario. It's not about the TV audience. I think it's about the punter and the right result for the punters, because that's you've backed her team. There's a chance that they look at that result and they overturn it. You kind of want him to.
And actually, if I didn't think they would overturn it. So when they came past the line, and I would always be more on the throw it out at school than the let him keep the race in case of interference. But I didn't think they would, and I didn't necessarily think they should thrown out the winner either.
Yeah.
But I also thought that had they thrown the winner out, it wouldn't have been an egregious decision. It would have been a perfectly reasonable decision had the stewards decided that did make the difference.
What do you think? I mean, I haven't read any more on the stewards' decision, but do you think? What do you think was the deciding factor in them allowing the result to stand?
I think they thought the winner was going on again at the end, and the margin was ahead, not a short header.
And did they need?
If it had been a short header on a nose, I think they'd have flipped it round.
Did they need either Tom or Sheen to determine that?
No.
I rest my case.
They absolutely didn't, and I'm with you. And I say that I think for the completeness, maybe a 30-second burst.
Fine.
Down the blower or something.
Ask the pertinent questions, get that out of the way, move them out. Not watching replays and listening to the jockeys telling their stories over and over again.
What do the ITV viewers think?
Oh, I wish someone would tell me. I haven't got a clue what the ITV viewers think about these sort of things. I'm too low down the pecking order. Okay.
Are you?
Yeah.
It's great. I just want to say, it's great to have you back on ITV Racing.
Such an idiot.
That's what it said on Instagram earlier in the week.
Such an idiot.
It's great to have you back.
It's great to be back.
It's great to have you back after that period. Right, I think the clock has ticked round. You'll be pleased to know.
We
the
fill
clock
the time
has ticked
beautifully
round for me to.
I'm hoping he does not answer now.
Come on, he never lets me down.
Don't answer, George.
George Boughey never lets me down. Here we go. Come on, George. Yes, I told you. I said he.
This video's a bit scary.
You're wearing more than Phil Cunningham though yesterday, which is pleasing.
Wow.
Jesus, that's quite a scary thought.
It's very nice to see you. I did just say to Rishi, George never lets me down. And indeed, that's the case. I'm glad, however, that you are. I think you must still be down here in Sussex, given that you're under a Nye Timber umbrella, and it looks like you're in a pub courtyard.
Yeah, I am. Very kindly asked to do the track day this morning, so going to go and do that, which is great.
Oh, so you're going to the motor racing circuit to drive?
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, Billy and I are having a bit of a drive around there, so try and get him in a bit of trouble again.
Are you going to play Christoph Soumillon this morning at the motor racing track?
I did text him about 5 a.m. saying I'm Sumi today.
How much relative to all the special moments you've enjoyed with this horse did yesterday mean to you?
It was right up there, I think. I think Billy described it as they keep getting better each time, but Ascot was a funny day. I thought he'd win that day, and we probably got him wrong. And I think, in hindsight, having seen what happened yesterday, that might well have been true. He was really good yesterday. I thought he'd win like that, and it was that sort of euphoric feeling of closing down two great horses. And it was right up there with the best days, certainly, of my training career.
And the warmth shown towards the horse as well just seems to be increasing and increasing and increasing. Your Goodwood's quite a serene place during an afternoon, even when you've got good class sport on. When you see a winner's enclosure erupt like that, it's only for very, very special moments.
Yeah, look, I was actually just speaking to George Scott on the phone a minute ago, and it's very rare that you actually are in those sort of situations, and I personally almost get into that sort of zone where you don't realise how special it is until you watch it back. And we're just there training horses, and so many people have been so kind, sending messages saying that it was one of their favourite days ever on a race course. And I think Billy's a huge part of it. Obviously the horse is brilliant, but he's just captivates the fans and the public, and young kids coming up to me saying he's their favourite horse and that sort of thing. And it reminds me of me being a kid watching these great horses, and just lucky that I train him.
Yeah, Rishi's with me this morning, and
Hi, George.
And Rishi, your daughter is a proper fan of Billy's, isn't she?
The horse and Billy, she loves Bo Echo and she loves Billy, and she actually came yesterday just to see Bo Echo and Billy, and the excitement she showed after he won the race was lovely for a father to see, because I wanted to be involved in racing. I wanted to love the sport, and what he did yesterday really, I think, set her on that path. So if things go wrong for her in the future, it's you and Billy and Bo Echo to blame.
We're all to blame.
I'm sorry. Sorry, George. Sorry.
No, it's great. I love to hear those sort of things. I think I said it to someone yesterday, fundamentally I'm a racing fan, really, and, to be able to keep saying it, to be a part of it is amazing, and, just lucky to be supported with some brilliant horses, and he keeps producing the goods.
Well, thankfully you said that in the interview when, unfortunately, we were short of time on ITV at the end of racing yesterday, so I had to curtail it. But what I wanted to ask, and I didn't get a chance, and I haven't even seen much of it mentioned in the media after the race, was about whether this horse is going to stay in training next year. I mean, we're at that juncture now where I know you mentioned France and you mentioned the Breeders' Cup Mile, but are we, because if this is his last season, are we going to be able to enjoy him enough? We need to know that before the season's out, or whether or not we might see him next year.
I think it's very much undecided at the moment, and with a horse of his value and his pedigree and his growing stature, I think it's a decision that won't be made till later in the year. So I think people kind of have to enjoy him to the max while we can, but obviously we'd love to continue racing a horse like him, but I do also understand the other side of it, and he's an incredibly valuable stallion.
George, just finally, I know you mentioned the Marois and the Moulin. There's an extra week to the Marois this year, which means it's, 2 and a bit weeks from now, or 2.5 weeks from the run, effectively. Is that going to come too soon, or do you go to the Moulin? What are you thinking?
Look, I obviously haven't seen the horse myself this morning, but I got a video from the vets. He's moving like a dream, and fresh as paint, and I was watching his camera through quite a lot of the night last night when he got home, and he takes a couple of days to snap back into himself, but we're very keen to train him with 16, 18 days in mind after Royal Ascot and see how fresh he was with the Mauer in mind. It's a stallion making race like they all are, but my one thing is, he in this very dry summer, if it does stay dry, the deeper we go into the summer with a possibility of rain coming, I think he'd be fine on it, but I think he'd be better on faster ground. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, exciting. You're going to get a lot of people coming with you to Deauville if he goes to the Jacques Marois, that's for sure. I'm going to let you go and enjoy your morning. How you rate your chances of besting your jockey round that motor circuit?
I fear for myself again. He's a pretty lethal driver. He's only been doing it a couple of years, but he's pretty good.
Yeah, I can imagine. Those reaction speeds, as we saw yesterday, are pretty sharp. You've given us a treat again. Well done, George.
Well done.
Cool. Thanks, guys. See you later.
George Boughey. I'm glad he's managing to get a little bit of time to relax this morning, though. Racing those jockeys around that motor circuit here, because there's nowhere to go. There's no runoff really.
No. I presume there's going to be one dark blue car, one purple and white car, and there'll be one yellow with black spots.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Exactly. Right. Elsewhere yesterday, I thought the 2-year-olds were pretty good. Persad was being mooted as a potential for the Nunthorpe.
Yes.
Though the winner of the Alice Keppel Stakes over the same distance, Wild Blossom, posted a faster time, and she was carrying £2 more.
Yeah.
So maybe they should think about the Nunthorpe for her as well.
Well, Carl Burke holds her in very high regard and mentioned that she did a bit of work last week that was with an older horse, and he was very impressed and came here with a lot of confidence yesterday. And she's back on track after Ascot, and the hopes are that she could turn out to be very special as well. Persad was interesting because I thought Adonis, my first reaction to the race was, I thought Persad was a little bit flattered by Adonis weakening in the closing stages, having been a bit keen. But then I watched the race again last night, and actually Persad was quite impressive. And I think the faster they go, the better she seemed to finish her race off. I think both horses should go. It'd be quite exciting. I couldn't remember. Richard hadn't put me on the spot. Obviously, I remembered Lyric Fantasy winning.
Yes.
The Nunthorpe as a 2-year-old. I remember Risky running in it. She'd won the super sprint and she ran in it, but he said another 2-year-old filly had won it, and actually now I'm talking about it, I didn't even check it last night.
Another 2-year-old filly had won it.
That's
way back in the day.
Kingsgate Native won it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was struggling to remember that, even though it was only about 2 years ago, the Platinum Queen was second.
Platinum Queen was second. Acapulco
for the same cadet for
Midland Park. Yeah. Acapulco
was second.
Second
for Wesley Ward.
Yeah,
I think. So they can do it.
Yeah, okay.
It always makes the race more interesting, doesn't it?
Absolutely, I agree. More exciting.
And York will be here before you know it. Yeah, so York won't be long away, and I just wonder, Rishi, whether Wild Blossom it might be a play for the Nunthorpe. I mean, as we were saying, if the winner of the Molecombe is, why shouldn't she be? Well, Richard Brown is with us now from Wathnan. What do you think of that idea, Richard? With 2 seconds quicker than the, or £2 more and a quicker time than the Molecombe, than Persad, yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty impressive, wasn't it? I just literally got off the phone to Carl there, actually, and we just sort of said, well, let's get her home, see how she is. She's fine this morning, and then take our time next week to make a decision. Suppose you don't want me to sit on the fence, do you? I'd be probably leaning towards the Lowther.
Okay. Lowther is, of course, 6 furlongs. She's got so much speed. And Carl, after the race, was saying maybe the Roses and then the Flying Childers. But what do you think of our Nunthorpe idea?
I don't like it.
Okay. Why not?
Well, I just think it's such a massive ask. I know there's obviously huge weight, weight allowance, but I just think 2-year-old fillies taking on massive 6-year-old geldings, I just don't really like it, to be honest with you.
Okay, so no Nunthorpe for her, and it's possibly the Lowther. How confident are you that she'll be as effective over 6?
Oh, yeah, I think she'll be fine over 6. Physically, she looks like a 6-furlong filly, I would say, and on pedigree, I think she's bred for 6. I think it's obviously a quick 6 at York, and I think that she'll travel strongly like she did yesterday. But look, I've obviously got to speak to Ollie, Ali Al-Qubaisi, all the guys in Qatar. There's a lot to, this is only my thoughts, but if you were making me make a decision now, I'd be keen to have a crack at 6. Also, if you don't stay, well, you know what you're doing for the rest of the season then.
Yeah, of course, that's right. Could you see her ending up in something like that race at Keeneland, do you think?
Don't know. I think it'll be one step at a time. I mean, possibly. I haven't given that any thought because we haven't even worked out what the next step is yet. So don't know.
Flora Bermuda was good yesterday, going up to 7 furlongs for a big pot. To what extent is that opening up opportunities, and to what extent was it just right? Well, it's there. We'll have a go at it.
No, look, it's good, but it's a very, it was obvious after last time. We knew she'd obviously have to carry the penalty, but we thought and hoped she became able to do it. Yeah, look, she's been great, hasn't she, for us? She's just won listed race, Group 3 under the penalty at Goodwood, which is so important for us. She's run very well in Group 1s, and I think now we'll be going back up into Group 1s, and I would say, City of York's the next obvious target. Again, haven't discussed it, but for me, it's pretty obvious that she'd go to York. She likes York, and it's a quick 7 there.
Richard, I'm just formulating my ACCA for today. And Sahara King, he's one of my favourite horses in training. I think he's enormously talented. I must admit, I was slightly surprised he's lining up for this race today, because he was in the handicap yesterday for a mile and a quarter, and I thought, perfect. But what's the thinking of him lining up over the trip today?
Well, I'll be completely honest with you, Rishi, that's exactly what the plan was. And then at about 9:30, we were looking at the Gordon, and there weren't many in it. I don't know if he's going to stay a mile and a half. Too darn hot, have a Shabadal mare, that's the question. Yeah. So it was basically, and again, we'll run today. If we don't stay, at least we know we've found something out. But it's a smaller field, which I think might suit him. I think he's sort of got a bit claustrophobic at Ascot. Yeah. So smaller field. Question is whether he will stay. We'll find out today.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, you've got another busy day. Of course, you always have a busy day here at Goodwood. I've been reliably informed by the man over my shoulder here, who's filming us, the great Josh Stacey, that you're going to win the last with the Archie Watson horse.
Well, I've actually got a quiet day today, Nick. We've only got 3 runners. We've got Sahara King. Yeah, I think exclusive code is, I think he's a good, I fancy him. I think our best chance of the day, which will curse it, obviously, is Old is Gold. Andrew Boulding, very sweet on it.
Okay.
Very sweet.
Has come down. I mean, you were talking about Old is Gold this time last year as a genuine pattern horse, and now he's.
Yeah, we've had niggles, we've had problems. We're back in a really good place. Apparently, did a very serious piece of work the other day. As I say, Andrew's very sweet on him. Look, it's we've drawn 1, which is potentially tricky after obviously what happened yesterday, but on ability, I think he'll run a big race. I think he's probably quite well handicapped.
I'm going to leave you to it. You've got lots to do. Richard, thanks so much. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, Nick. See you later.
Cheers. That's Richard Brown from Wathnan there. I mean, he's put his neck on the block with Old is Gold.
Well, there's no hiding place now that everyone knows about that. I'm annoyed about the Sahara King thing. I thought he'd have a cracking chance in the mile and a quarter handicap. I was putting a line through Ascot. The claustrophobic thing is, I can see that now, because he just never got into the race, and then he made up his ground a little bit late. I didn't see him as a 1.5 mile horse though either, but we'll find out.
Do you know what we need now, Rishi?
What do we need now?
We need to get a blast from Galway, I feel.
Indeed, I think that's only fair.
So, welcome into the show, the one and the only, Jane Mangan.
Oh, hi, Jane.
Hi, folks. I feel very left out. I feel like you guys are having such a good time, but we're not doing too bad over here either.
Hey.
Anyone in the company of Nick Luck is going to be having a good time. That's how he rolls.
Yeah, well, my colleagues Barry Geraghty, Ruby and I were watching the coverage yesterday, obviously glued to the Sussex Stakes from the west of Ireland. And Nick's poise, he was almost like he was a mannequin. He was so perfect in his poise as he sent the horses to post for I remember watching Miss United in the Goodwood Cup many, many years ago. I think I'm going to remember watching Billy and Bo Echo overcome all of that adversity to win yesterday.
So normally speaking, everyone says you've got to be at Galway. It's far more crack at Galway. But you actually think we're having more fun at Goodwood?
I wouldn't say that now. I'd say there's a lot of people in Galway having more fun than Jane because, I'm quite a reserved person. But it is my last day on TV today, so maybe tonight, who knows? Don't FaceTime me tomorrow.
Okay, I won't FaceTime you tomorrow, I promise. What happened last night?
Last night was very tame. You know me. We went for dinner. I meant
what happened at the races last night.
Of course. Well, there was an extra 1,000 people there last night compared to last year. The figures for the first 2 days in terms of attendance were a little bit down. Weather wasn't great, but yesterday was good. I think around 15,500 people came yesterday. The President of Ireland came yesterday, Catherine Connolly, for the first time, a Galway woman, so good for her, Zuchteron Heron. And obviously King Alexander was the showpiece winner. It looked like on paper a wide open edition of the plate. Willie Mullins takes his third renewal of the race. Daniel King, a marquee week for him. You kind of feel like this is his breakout. This could be the big opening for him to get big rides. And Conyers Hill Travel flashed home, but this guy always looked like from 2 out that he was going to win.
So how good is this Daniel King?
I think you're going to see him at Grade 1 level a lot this coming season. His brother Connor, if you remember, was dual champion apprentice on the flat. He got very tall and too heavy to stay on the flat. Now trains, obviously, Oscar's brother, who listeners will be familiar with. I think Daniel is going straight to the top, yeah.
Okay, I want you to let your hair down a bit when you finish today. You deserve it.
Nick, I'm going to take a leaf out of your book.
Well done, Jane.
Don't do that, Jane. Don't do that. You don't, please. For your own health and safety, don't do that.
Who do you fancy in the hurdle, Rishi?
El Kairos is going to win.
Oh, well done.
El Kairos. Actually, I want El Kairos to win, but I also want Helvig Dream to run a big race. Obviously, after what happened last year, and I imagine this has been the plan for Noel Meade, higher in the handicap, but, I'm a romantic.
I'm so impressed, Rishi.
I read that somewhere.
Jane, I'm going to love you and leave you.
Put a pan in the jar, Nick.
Okay, will do. Take care. Cheers.
Bye.
Bye. The great Jane Mangan.
She's awesome.
All right, looking forward to more from Jane later in the week from Galway. But Rishi, today, send us out. Sing us out.
I tell you what, Nick, today you need to lump on Miss Your Chance in the 5 furlong handicap. I am looking forward to seeing her run. She has got blistering pace. She ran in Dubai a couple of times during the season where she showed so much pace, both on turf and on the dirt in Dubai. She switched stables. She went to Carlberg, ran after I think a 3-month break at Royal Ascot, and had them all on the stretch over the stiff 5 at Ascot, and then just ran out of steam.
I saw her at Carl's in the pen the other day.
Did you?
Well, just before Ascot, and he knew almost nothing about her.
That's right.
She'd only been there 5 minutes.
When I saw Carl before the race at Ascot, I asked him about her. I said, look, I've tipped her up. I really fancy her. He said, I really can't tell you much about her because I haven't really got a chance to know her. But now he does. Now she's on the 5 furlong track that I think will really suit her. I don't care about draw and who's drawn where. She is rocket. She is a rocket, and she will just blast away. I think she'll win. She's double figures, I think.
You coming to the Stewards Cup draw?
I'm there, yes. I'm
Good.
representing Midland Park and Michael Bell, Gold Star Hero.
Will you be at the ball tonight?
Won't be at the ball, no. Again, those sort of things are way above my grade. Lucky, I presume you're there.
Well, I'm having to. No.
Oh, sorry.
I am.
You're
having. No. I'm very willingly, as always,
of course,
commentating on the 2-horse race.
Of course you are. Did you go back in the day when there was a boxing match? Do you remember that?
Yes, I do remember that.
Yeah,
that was a long time ago.
That was probably when I said, don't think I'm going to be making these in the future.
You know, I called the wrong winner of the 2-horse race one year.
Jamie Lang.
But it's dark and
Oxford, Cambridge.
It's Rebel and Cedar.
No, but do you remember Jamie Lang in the?
Oh yes, sorry, yes.
He gave the whole.
And who would have been doing Jamie Lang's job had it not been Jamie Lang?
It could have been anybody. I mean, to be fair, anyone can.
Who habitually has done that job?
Anybody can do that job. But it's not that hard, is it, to get it right between Oxford and Cambridge, or between
Rebel and Cedar? Stay tuned.
What was the reaction? What was the reaction like when you called it wrong?
I mean, they were.
Did you do a Jamie Lang afterwards and then really ramp up the loser?
Well, what I did is I then did a Jamie Lang and threw my floor manager under the bus in the papers the next day.
Who's actually here at Goodwood?
Yeah, Dan Woodhouse, the great Dan Woodhouse, who should never be thrown under any bus because he is the loveliest man in the world. Right, I think that just about does us, doesn't it?
That's it. Miss your chance. Come on, baby.
All right. We will see you tomorrow. That was Thursday, July the 30th.
You've been listening to Nick Luck Daily. Thanks for listening. This edition has been brought to you by Timeform, your trusted source for racing data and analysis, by Total Performance Data, the global leader in live horse racing data, and by FitzDares, laying some of the world's largest sporting wagers since 1882.